Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about why it's important to carefully select our assistance and accessory work. And the reason I say that is because, generally speaking, if you're smart, you understand training, and you're not just throwing everything but the kitchen sink at something like a lot of pro bodybuilders do, and they just rely, on genetics and 55-gallon drums of magical supplements, then it's not really wise to do that. And I think these same rules apply to people even who are enhanced. I'm not saying this is only for naturals either. It's that most people are not genetic freaks and they're not going to use a lot of stuff. So from that context, I'm not going to give different advice to those people than I would to true naturals, because I don't think they need to train differently. I think that they should train exactly like a natural. I think they should train exactly like a natural should, and they'll probably make better progress. And the reason I say this is we're going to have a few lifts, and in the case of what you see me doing in this video, and at the time I made this video, and it may still be that way when it comes out, my focus was the squat, bench, deadlift, and the pull-up. Okay, those are my big four. Everything else that I did was there to either fill a weak link visually or performance wise. So the problem people have is that they come in and they do too many exercises, they do too much volume, and then they wonder why they're small. And you see plenty of YouTubers out there who promote science-based stuff or whatever, and they're lean and they promote working all these muscles from 4 or 5 different angles. None of them have any size, thickness, muscle mass. Usually what you see with those guys, they've got a little bit of bicep, maybe a little delt, and they're real lean with abs, but they don't have any real muscle. Right? They don't have significant amounts of muscle. They don't have any real muscle density. Right? They're not really hard either, are they? And I'm just going to be honest with that. Like, they still look soft even when they have abs. They're when they're really lean. And again, it has to do with muscle quality, muscle density. It has to do with thickness. And these guys just don't have that. And sometimes they've been training for years and YouTubing for years. And I won't name names because I don't want to call anyone out, but I'm sure you guys can come up with a few. And basically they just have some biceps. Something I don't particularly have personally. But I have everything else. But they put this information out and people follow it, and all their followers stay tiny and weak. And when I talk about assistance versus accessory work, the reason I say that these have to be picked carefully is because we have a limited amount of recovery. We have a limited amount of recovery. And since most of you are not bulking super hard, your recovery is going to be even more limited, because people will point out, well, you can out eat and out sleep overtraining. There's a degree of truth to that. Most of you aren't going to do it, right? Most of you are not going to be gaining 2 or 3 pounds a month, because it's going to be a lot of fat. Most people aren't going to be willing to do that, because you're going to have to cut it off later if you are, by the way, and that may not be a pleasant experience. You're not sleeping 10 hours a night. So you have very limited recovery. And the bigger and stronger we get, the more our recovery gets reduced relative to our ability to generate workload. So we can't just throw everything in there. You use your basic lifts to build your size and your strength. The other lifts are there to fill in the gaps. And filling in the gaps can mean a lot of things. It could be performance gaps. It could be aesthetic gaps, depending upon what your goals are. I am largely a strength channel, but I do understand that other people care about the other stuff. So, that needs to be addressed. So what do we mean by accessories and assistance work? Okay, assistance work is an exercise that shares a movement pattern with your primary movement. So again, it's still going to be a big exercise. It's going to be a big exercise, but it's going to share a movement pattern with the primary exercise. So it's going to work the muscle slightly differently. And what does that mean? It means it can bring up a weak link. Examples. If your triceps are weak on your bench, your triceps are lagging, An assistance lift would be the close grip bench press. I think most people get the concept there. Works more tricep. Okay. If your pecs are lagging and you want to continue to do a press that's still going to have carryover, a decline bench, a dumbbell bench, very useful there. If your front delts are lagging, your delts are the weak link, either visually or performance-wise in your bench press, an incline bench, with a barbell or dumbbells, either one. These are still presses that are similar to your bench press, right? They have movement pattern carryover. For your squat, an assistance movement could be a front squat, a goblet squat. Technically, I'll argue that even a leg press or a belt squat or a single leg exercise like a split squat, right? Because they're still the big movements, they share the movement pattern. These are assistance movements to it. Good morning could technically be assistance movement to a squat. Similar movement pattern. Slight change in the way the joint works. Accessory movements. Things that don't share a movement pattern, but they're there purely for hypertrophy. Because the others are there for hypertrophy too, and our big lifts are there for hypertrophy. Right, you do sets of 10 on the squat and deadlift, you're going to get big. All right, accessory movements. I don't know, anything that builds the lats or the biceps, say for your pull-up. Curls, rows. Right, there you are doing curls up there in the background. Curls. That would be an accessory. Let's go back over to the bench press. Let's say your triceps are lagging. Doing a tricep extension or a press down. Okay, that's an accessory because it's for the triceps. Deadlift, let's say your hamstrings need more work. You do a glute ham raise. That's an accessory for your deadlift for the hamstrings. But these things need to be picked based on your weak points. If something is not a weak point for whatever your goal is, you shouldn't be wasting a lot of time with assistance work or accessory work on it. You really shouldn't. Right? And assistance work generally has the best performance carryover. And accessory work is there just to get you thicker where you need to be thicker in either a primary mover, a support muscle, or a muscle that you care about visually if that's what your thing is. So again, a lot of accessory work might be tricep work or curls or whatever, right? Maybe some delt work. But these things need to be very limited. They need to be carefully selected, or you're just going to train too much and you're going to make less gains. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.